It's time for your daily LSU baseball update with Musso at the box. Now, Matt Musso.
Off and running. Welcome in. Another edition of Musso at the box. Time has come. LSU and Arkansas, 6 p.m. Saturday night. Omaha, Nebraska at Charles Schwab Field. Opening up, both teams stay in Omaha, and there is so much on the line in this ball game where, look, these are already the top two favorites odds-wise in Vegas to win the College World Series. The team that wins this game will be the overwhelming favorite to win the national championship. It is very odd. It is kind of unique where you get this much on the line, or at least what feels like this much on the line in an opening ball game in Omaha. It feels weird to say the team that wins the opener might win the national championship. But that's how a lot of people feel about this game between LSU and Arkansas. We will talk all about it. This is the final thoughts, the prediction at the end, everything. Final previews, key matchups, what matters most in LSU, Arkansas on Saturday night, and I cannot wait to get into it. Y'all smash the like button, please, if you have not already. Get subscribed on the YouTube channel, on your favorite podcast app. Follow on social media, Twitter, X, at Musso Matthew, Facebook, Instagram, all those places. Please share, and let's go ahead and dive right into it. Arkansas, the Hogs, they are the number 3 national seed, 5-0 in the postseason. They come in 48-13 overall on the year, hitting .313 as a club with 124 home runs. That is top 5 in America. LSU comes in at 48-15 overall, hitting .299 as a club. They have mashed 101 homers. The big number for them is the 129 doubles on the season. On the mound, Arkansas. These teams are neck and neck, just like they were in the regular season. The Hogs pitched to a 3.91 ERA overall on the year. They have punched out 646 in 522 innings pitched. On the flip side, LSU comes in with an ERA of 3.82. They have punched out 710 in 539 2/3 innings pitched. And in the field, Arkansas leads the nation in fielding percentage at .984. LSU not far behind at .981. These two teams on paper really could not be any closer. And we said the same thing when we previewed this series back in May. And outside of one game, that series played out that way. A walk-off win for LSU in game 1, a one-run game heading to the 9th inning, and Arkansas would ultimately add a couple and get some distance between them in game number 3 to salvage what was left of the series. And I don't see any reason why you are not in for the exact same thing Saturday night in Omaha. That is your overview. We have talked so much about Arkansas has done in the postseason. We have talked so much about LSU has done in the postseason that I kind of just want to leave that to the side right now and dive into what might happen on the mound. For Arkansas, we know Dave Van Horn has announced it. It will be left-hander Zach Root. And that's not a surprise. I mean, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. He's had a phenomenal season. First team All-SEC. It'll be start 18, appearance 18 for Root. He's 8-5, a 3.5 ERA. He's punched out 119 and 92 and 2/3 innings to just go along with 31 walks. And the opponent hits .221. I give you that line first to say, look, that's really good. Like, that's a great season that just about any Division I college pitcher would say, I'll take that. They'll sign up for it in a heartbeat. There have been a few in there for Root that haven't necessarily gone, as planned. Ole Miss beat him up pretty good. Texas A&M and Florida both beat him up pretty good. Tennessee got him pretty good, honestly, in the first meeting of the year between those two teams. But right now, it feels like Zach Root is pitching his best baseball of the year. And that's a great sign for Arkansas. Root in the postseason is 2-0 with a 0.69 ERA. 13 innings, 3 walks, 13 strikeouts. The emotion has come out in him a lot more. And it's even translated to his fastball, where when the emotions were flying high against Tennessee, he got up to 98, which is by far the hardest he has thrown all season. Now, the very next inning, he was back down to the 90, the 93, the 94 that you're used to seeing him at. He did flash a few 95s. But in a big spot in Omaha against LSU, there's going to be some emotion. You might see that fastball velo tick up a little bit for Root. The curveball has looked exceptional so far in his 2 starts in the postseason. And it's really served as a nice put-away pitch for him, both swinging and looking. And then always in his back pocket, he's got the changeup, which is just a dominating pitch as well. Like as good as the curveball has been, anytime he wants, he can completely wreck your day with that changeup. It is awesome. Go ask the Texas Longhorns. When he struck out his season-high 11, a lot of them came on the changeup against Texas. It is a very good pitch. So you're looking at a 3-pitch mix from a guy throwing his best baseball of the season right now in Zach Root. When he faced LSU, it was 6 innings. He gave up 2 earned, didn't walk anybody, punched out 6. He pitched very, very well in that game, got the no decision. So that's what you're looking at starting pitching-wise for Arkansas. For LSU, it seems cut and dry, but is it? LSU could conceivably throw Anderson or Ianson. And I bring that up for a couple of reasons. Number one, look back at the regular season. Anthony Ianson threw 6 shutout against this club and punched out 11. There's no way Jay Johnson hadn't at least thought about it. Ianson would be on 1-day short rest, and I think that does matter, especially coming off the outing that he had. It was just, man, it was really warm and things of that nature. Not the best conditions, a lot of humidity. You might want to get him that full complement of rest, make sure he's recovered. So I actually would think the 1-day short rest matters, especially against the lineup as potent as Arkansas. But again, he threw 6 shutout with 11 Ks against this club. There's no way that Jay Johnson hasn't at least considered it. Number 2 is Arkansas hits left-handed pitching better than just about anybody in the country. Like they are awesome at hitting lefties, which is pretty surprising because a lot of their top hitters are left-handed. And you look at Davalon, you look at Kojal, go down, they've got some really good left-handed bats in that lineup. And they feast. But I do think it gets overblown a little. Yes, there's a sizable gap in the splits, but make no mistake about it. Arkansas hits over 300 against both lefties and righties. So I think you might actually be splitting hairs there. But I wanted to see what it looked like in the LSU series. So I went and totaled it up. Against Cade Anderson, Arkansas hit 304. Against Anthony Ianson, Arkansas hit 217. That's a pretty sizable gap. And I wanted to tell you that first before I told you, I would still go with Cade Anderson. So many of you can probably go, what in the hell are you thinking? Here's what I'm thinking. Yes, Arkansas hit 304 off of Cade Anderson. They scored 3 runs. And 2 of the 3 runs were solo homers. Cade Anderson did a phenomenal job scattering the other 5 hits. They strung together 1 rally against him. I point you back to their overall splits where they hit over 300 against both lefties and righties. They can have success against a right-handed pitcher just fine. They've done it plenty this year. What this comes down to, and what Anderson did so well in that outing, was execution. They hit both fine. Like really good. What it comes down to is execution. It goes back to kind of what we talked about earlier in the week, where it's, man, who has the advantage in a rematch like this? Is it the pitcher? Is it the hitter? And you would think, man, it should be the hitter. They can adjust. The pitcher's going to have to go out there and kind of just, they have the same arsenal, right? A batter can move around in the box. They've seen everything. How can they adjust to it? Maybe take some of the break out of the slider, things of that nature. But the game starts and ends on the mound. If that pitcher's executing and they're as good as Cade Anderson and Zach Root, they can wreck your day just in a heartbeat. Doesn't matter how many times you've seen them. It comes down to execution for both. And Cade Anderson executed extremely well against this Arkansas lineup, and even was dealing with discomfort in his wrist at points throughout that outing and had to leave because of the cramp. I like that. Now you're playing in a bigger ballpark where it's going to be harder to run the ball out. Y'all, the under feels like a heck of a play in this baseball game with Root and Anderson, in my opinion, going for LSU. And the other thing is, I'm expecting Cade Anderson to be hella motivated to go out there and put last week behind him, which he feels was not up to his standard, which I love. I've given y'all my thoughts on that, where for 5 innings, he was as Cade Anderson could be, then had to sit for over half an hour, go back out there in 100-degree heat and try to throw. And West Virginia got to him a couple different times. Then he goes back in the dugout, sits for another half hour, has to go back out again, and West Virginia got to him again. And that's why the line looks like it does. But he still got you 7 innings. But he feels it wasn't up to his standard, and I love that. And one reason I love that so much is because, boy, we've seen this story already, haven't we? Against Mississippi State, Cade Anderson, 4 1/3, 5 earned. The very next week, complete game shutout against Oklahoma on the road. How about 14 Ks in that one? Couple weeks later against Alabama, 5 2/3, 5 earned. The very next week against Tennessee, how about 7 1/3, 2 earned, and 11 punch-outs? When he has felt like it wasn't his best, he has come back in the next start with an absolute vengeance. And I expect him to do the same exact thing there. And if he executes, he can hold down the Arkansas lineup once again. So I'm going with Cade Anderson as the starter. And he's on full rest, and I think that matters in a spot like this. And there's no reason, in my opinion, really, to mess with that. Roll him out there, and if he's been the Cade Anderson he's been for the majority of this season, you'll like the result if you're LSU. So I'm fully expecting Anderson to match up against Root, and I think it's the right call. All right. Some keys for LSU and really for Arkansas as well. For LSU, first and foremost for me is, what does the offense look like away from the box? And that's been the story all year just about. And it really started in that Auburn series, and it just kind of never relented after that. Although I do believe against Oklahoma, they actually played very well offensively, given the conditions they had to play in that weekend. It was cold, the wind was blowing, and it was stupid and brutal and rainy. It was horrible. These northern teams in the SEC. But it really started in that Auburn series and just never really kind of relented. At home, LSU has averaged close to 10 runs per game this season, including a couple run rules in SEC play. So it's not just them feasting on midweek competition and all of that. On the road, LSU has averaged half that. You have two different examples of neutral sites. They had a great offensive weekend in Frisco in the Classic out there. They scored 4 runs in Hoover over the course of 2 games. Away from home, neutral site added in, LSU averages 5 runs per game. And I really highlight that because what's LSU's magic number? 6. LSU has lost 1 game. 1 game all season long when scoring 6 or more runs. LSU is 39-1 on the year when scoring 6 or more runs. In the regional and super regional at the box, 61 runs, 61 hits. How much of that translates? I actually think LSU's offense sets up well for Charles Schwab Field because they haven't had the power all year long. They've had to get creative and score in multiple different ways. Now, them not having the power has also led to some of their offensive struggles. So those two go hand in hand. But we've seen this team score runs on squeeze bunts, sack flies, line drives, base hits, doubles, all that. That's really been the crux of their offense. They just topped the 100 home runs in the super regional weekend. It's not to say they don't have guys that can run it out of the yard. Of course they can. But the majority of those 100 home runs have also come at home. So the way they've had to score runs this year fits that park. The problem is that park isn't the box. And now you're going to be facing the best pitching you've seen all year. Arguably. So that's first and foremost. So how does that carry over? Well, that's where you talk Stephen Milam. And for me, Stephen Milam is the X factor in this ballgame. I know a lot of people are going to look at LSU's bullpen. Look, man, I feel awesome about LSU's pitching. I really do. I think in this game, the X factor has to lie on offense because you have everybody you want available out of the pen. You can go to Evans. You can go to Cowan. You can go to Shores. You go to all of them. They're all fresh and ready to go. For me, you're going to have to score enough runs. And Stephen Milam has to be a part of that. Stephen Milam in the postseason is hitting .421. He has driven in 11. He has 4 extra base hits. He has walked 10 times and not struck out at all. And that has taken this LSU offense to a whole new level. He has kind of been that missing link for this offense, especially in conference play. But when those postseason lights come on, he takes it to a whole nother level. Stephen Milam has to stay hot. If he does, I really like what LSU's offense can do, because Ethan Fry has had a career year. Jared Jones has been up and down a little bit, but he's still one of your best hitters. Derek Coryell leads this team in average. Danny Dickinson's been awesome. Stanfield at the bottom. You have the lineup depth. And all Monster does is just make it even deeper. And again, 11 RBI. 11 RBI in the postseason that leads this LSU team. That guy has to stay going. Likewise for Arkansas, they have to shut him down. Outside of the offense for LSU, you're facing a different Arkansas lineup in the sense that they're getting production from so many different spots right now. And not just production, elite run production from guys like Maxwell and Davalon and Kojiel and Helfrich. But this still comes down to the Aloy brothers for me. They're not going to stay dormant for long. LSU had a great plan against those two in the regular season. They were 5 of 22 and punched out 10 times and punched out in big spots. LSU's got to hold those two guys down once again. And they're struggling a little bit in the postseason by their standards. You have to keep it that way on the mound if you're LSU. If Anderson can get you 6, I think you feel really good. You'll be right there in the game with a chance to win it. Not saying you will, but you'll be right there with a chance to win it. When you look back at offense for LSU, I remember the other thing that I wanted to say. LSU has got to be able to get to Arkansas's bullpen, which is much easier said than done. Much easier said than done. That is a elite group of arms that Dave Van Horn has to call upon. We kind of went through them a little bit. Obviously, Gackle is the guy that you really got to look out for. He's struck out 9 in 5 innings so far in the postseason. But Arkansas's bullpen as a whole in the postseason has pitched to a 2.36 ERA. They have walked just 4 and struck out 30 in 19 innings pitched. You have got to be able to make hay against that group. Now, LSU was able to do that to an extent in the regular season. We will see if that translates, but in the regular season, you had success. In the Friday game, you saw Jimenez and Gackle, you got 3 earned runs off of them combined. LSU hit anybody that stepped on the mound in that Saturday game. And that ended up being 7 earned runs off the Arkansas bullpen that night. And then I should say their best day was Sunday, where you only got 1 earned. But before that, you got 10 earned runs off the bullpen in that regular season series. In the 2 games that you won. That's huge. Huge for this game. Zach Root's going to get them deep. If you can get him out of the game early, that's awesome. Work to get that pitch count up. They pulled him at, what was it? 91 pitches in the regular season. I would think he'll be able to go a little bit longer than that given what's on the line in Omaha. But if you can get that pitch count up and get him out, get into that bullpen and see if you can have the same success you had in your 2 wins in the regular season. For LSU, on the mound, one more time. It is hard to find a weakness with this Arkansas team. Like, I don't really think there is one. But maybe if there's one hole, maybe it's the strikeouts. They punch out a lot. 514 on the season. That's a quarter of your at-bats total for Arkansas. And LSU is one of the best strikeout teams in the nation. Cade Anderson, if all goes according to plan, will finish this season as the nation's leader in strikeouts. Against Anderson and Ianson, Arkansas punched out 21 times in the regular season. You have to exploit that again if you're LSU. Throw strikes, mix your pitches well, and get them off balance and see if you can punch them out. Be ready to hit because Arkansas doesn't walk a lot of people. We already talked about the bullpen, just 4 walks in 19 innings, right? You've got a guy like Parker Coyle out of their pen. He's walked 2 guys all year. They're going to be in the zone. Be ready to hit. So how does it go? And y'all, I'll be honest. Got that pit in your stomach about this game. I know I do. And I've kind of gone back and forth on it all week. And actually, right before I sat down to record this show, I said to myself out loud, I think I know who I'm going to pick. This is as much of a toss-up as a toss-up can be. I firmly believe that. And that's how Omaha should be. Like that is how the College World Series should be. But when I look at it, I look at the pitching matchup. And I think Zach Root is absolutely phenomenal. And I think he is pitching his best baseball of the year. Like, this is what Arkansas envisioned when they got him out of the portal from ECU. And remember, LSU wanted him. Like, it really kind of came down to LSU, Arkansas, and he chose the Hawks. And this is what they envisioned, was him pitching at this level and going into the first game of Omaha with a chance to win their first national championship. But I like Cade Anderson more. Cade Anderson has a shot to be in the big leagues in 2026. He is going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. He has been more consistent than Root throughout the season. When he's on, he's virtually untouchable. And he has been on more often than not this year. You can really point to 2 outings, and that's it. Every other time, he has been every bit the ace that LSU recruited him to be. And I think that is a big advantage for LSU. Anderson and Ianson have been your advantage really all year long, and I don't think it's any different here. There's an old adage in baseball, and I believe it to my core. Good pitching beats good hitting. I think this is a low-scoring game. I think that favors LSU. and I will take LSU to win this game against Arkansas. Do I have the most confidence in the world in that pick? I do not. But I will take LSU to beat Arkansas and move into the winner's bracket and face the winner of UCLA and Murray State. This should be a phenomenal game between the Tigers and the Hogs. You know we will have you covered wall to wall throughout LSU stay in Omaha, however long that may be, right here on Musso at the Box. Be sure to tune in live reaction after the game goes final, right after the 27th out on Saturday night. We will be here, and we'll be here, as I said, throughout the duration of LSU stay. Smash the like button, get subscribed, share. Be here next time for more on Musso at the Box.